I've noticed over the past few weeks that the Star Wars Hot Toys market specifically has been changing very quickly, especially in the secondary market, and I've been noticing some trends. I think that this video is going to be super important for any of you guys that follow my channel and, want some type of advice. This is Six Economist. Let's jump right into it. What is going to do? Welcome to a video. This is Six Economist. Today's video, we're doing like sort of market watch, but more just like overall advice and my opinion on what's going on right now in the Star Wars secondary market and how these Clone Wars and Mandalorian figures are affecting the trajectory of all Star Wars Hot Toys in the secondary market. What have I noticed over the past few weeks, especially in, on eBay, but especially in Facebook groups, some of the most desirable figures in the secondary market, Anakin, Darkside Anakin, Obi-Wan, Jyn Erso Deluxe, Mud Trooper. A lot of these figures are trending down. Mud Trooper has significantly gone down in price to where it was $430 in secondary market just 3 weeks ago, and has now been trending downwards sometimes sub $350 in Facebook groups and sitting. What's going on and why is this important? I tried to dig deeper on this one. For this one, I went to the Six Seal Scavengers database. I'm going to link their channel in the description below, as well as this website. If you guys haven't checked out this website, super useful. Where Brian has just basically made a full database of all the Star Wars Hot Toys that Hot Toys has released. And I kind of just looked through it because this can't be coincidental that some of these most desirable Star Wars figures in the secondary market have been trending down recently with all of these Mandalorian and Clone Wars figures getting announced and getting released. What's the big arching theme that I'm going to be, talking about for this video? If you take a look at all of the releases for Hot Toys, the thing that just sticks out to me, taking a 50,000 foot view of the market, over the past 4 years, Star Wars Hot Toys have been releasing, to where we would get one good figure, one good original trilogy figure here, one good prequel trilogy figure there. But in between them, a bunch of figures that people just don't really want. Really, it was crowded by a bunch of sequel figures. Let's go back, wind the clocks back to the beginning, and just take a look here. We started off with Bespin Luke, right? And then we have all the New Hope figures. In general, all the New Hope figures do quite well in the secondary market, but some of them very well. And I think that this is more just a function of how old these figures are and how many people just weren't really in the game and didn't pick up these figures at retail. So ignoring those, we start, right? We have the Force Awakens onslaught of figures. And think about it yourself if you were a Star Wars collector here. Maybe you were, maybe you weren't. We have all these Force Awakens figures getting announced and coming out. First Order Snowtroopers, people are passing. Kylo passing. First Order Snowtroopers passing. All of these sequel figures, people are passing. And you basically go almost a full year of announcements that nobody really wants. And then we get the Shock Trooper. People kind of want that. Oh, Empire Strikes Back Yoda, that's a good one. People will pick that one up. And then more sequel figures. The Battlefront Jump Trooper. Some people might get it, some people might not. And then Force Awakens, and then we get Rogue One figures. Now, in general, a lot of people actually kind of slept on Rogue One figures, but it was obviously way better than we were getting with sequel figures. So, we have some good releases from Rogue One figures. Battlefront Snowtroopers, those did well. Obviously, people like those. Some more Rogue One Troopers. Couple New Hope figures that some people slept on, some people didn't. More Rogue One. Princess Leia, which is a pretty good one, but nothing that not one that people are going crazy over. And then we have Episode 8 figures, so we have The Last Jedi, people don't want. And then Grand Moff Tarkin, people are scooping Grand Moff Tarkin, people like that. Some people are picking up the 2-pack. Anakin, absolutely amazing. And then we just have more sequel figures coming out. So what do you think that does to a figure like Anakin, right? If you're a Hot Toy collector coming into the market and you're wow, I really like this, these Star Wars Hot Toys, I want to go and pick some up. They take a look at all the things that have been released, right? We have animated Boba, Anakin, and then a few Rogue One figures, and then a few original trilogy figures sprinkled in. Other than that, it's basically a bunch of duds of sequel figures. And people are wow, I really don't want those sequel figures. I'm going to go pick up that Anakin. And then what happens? Anakin goes above $500 in the secondary market. Animated Boba Fett goes to $450 in the secondary market. Grand Moff Tarkin over $400. And basically what happens is all of these desirable figures, a lot of these Rogue One figures, just start doubling and tripling in the secondary market. Why? Because people who are coming into the market are not going and picking up sequel figures, and their options are pretty thin. If you really take a step back and look at this list, you really start to notice, wow, there's a lot of figures that came out that are really bad People don't want those. And there's actually not that many really awesome figures that people wanted. And that's probably why a lot of these figures have done so well in the secondary market, like Anakin or animated Boba Fett. Okay, and then as we move along, right, we're getting past some of these episode 8 figures, we start to get, the paradigm starts to shift a little bit, and we start to get more better releases. Empire Strikes Back Boba Fett, Palpatine, Royal Guard, not really, that's kind of just a miss, because it has to go with Palpatine. Obi-Wan Deluxe and Anakin Darkseid, obviously amazing figures. So, all right, now we're on a little bit of a roll. We've got some good figures coming out in a row, and then we get the solo figures. A lot of people are passing on these solo figures, partially why the Mud Trooper did so well in the secondary market, but, Han Solo and Han Solo Deluxe, people kind of passed on it, and for good reason, and now, they're still kind of just sitting. Mud Trooper, people slept on it, that's why it jumped so high in the secondary market, but it's quickly reverting, just classic mean reversion. Patrol Trooper, everybody was saying, this figure is going to spike and whatever, it just really hasn't. And then we get, Attack of the Clones Yoda, which is, a cheaper figure, Count Dooku, which is a great rrelease, Darth Maul, which is a good release, but again, it's getting reissues, and then we have, Last Jedi Crate, nobody really cares, Bespin Leia, I said Bespin Leia earlier, I meant to say Hoth Leia. Hoth Leia is done well. Bespin Leia, again, nothing, too super exciting, but it's kind of, a similar trend still, because we got past most of the sequel figures, it's not as bad as it was before, but it's not like we're getting a bunch of bangers in a row. We're getting Yoda, Count Dooku, Darth Maul, 3 great releases in a row. Luke Crate, nobody really cares. Bespin Leia, it's kind of a basic figure. R2, people can pass on that. A Stormtrooper, we've had enough of those. Deluxe Luke, Return of the Jedi, that one, people had problems with. And then it starts to change now. Now we've got, Director Krennic. That's a figure that a lot of people were waiting for to complete the Rogue One line. Commander Cody, which is now shipping, which is an absolutely amazing figure. Qui-Gon, another great Jedi. Solo Darth Maul, Princess Leia, Wicket. Some a little bit of noise, and then bang. This is where it all changes. We have the Mandalorian figures coming out, right? Mandalorian. Everybody's picking up the Mandalorian, or, the deluxe version of the Mandalorian, heavy infantry Mandalorian, Incinerator Trooper, Death Trooper, Mandalorian with the Child, and so now we're starting to get for every 10 releases, we're probably getting 6 to 7 really good ones that people want, whereas before it was 2 out of every 10 or 3 out of every 10, it felt like everybody was going to pick them up. And then Hot Toys got the Clone Wars license, and it's been history since then. Now the game's completely different. Take a look at these last releases that we've had in a row now. And let's just start with Vintage Boba. Vintage Boba, it's a great reissue. It's a Boba Fett, new colorway, fine. Darth Vader, that was doing very well in the secondary market. A lot of people say this is the best version of Darth Vader. And then Clone Wars Captain Rex, it's over. Captain Rex, basically everybody's picking it up. Anakin, everybody's picking it up. Luke, even sprinkling in some original trilogy, Luke Snowspeeder, tons of people are picking it up. Clone Wars, everyone and their mother is picking up. 501st Clone Trooper, Ahsoka, everyone and their mother is picking up. 501st Clone Trooper, everybody is picking up. Lando, another great original trilogy figure that would have been done so well 3 years ago, and has been crowded out, boxed out a little bit by these clone releases. And then we get Darth Maul, and then we get Coruscant Guard. And what's super important to note is they gave us Darth Maul and Coruscant Guard this week, and we haven't even gotten to New York Comic Con yet. New York Comic Con is I believe, this week, and a lot of people are expecting, that's when we're going to get more Hot Toys announcements. And so the fact that they gave us 2 more Clone Wars Hot Toys before even New York Comic Con just shows the onslaught of figures that we're going to get. And we haven't even started on Mandalorian Season 2. And so taking a step back, this is why I think some of these figures, in the secondary market are starting to bleed a little bit. And that's because if you really take a step back and you look at all of these, the Star Wars Hot Toys market, for the most part, had been a decent amount of sequel figures coming out that nobody wanted, sprinkled in with a lot of gems, like Darkseid Anakin or Obi-Wan, or some of the Rogue One figures. And so as a collector coming into the market, or as a collector who buys, who's a current collector in the market, you're not picking up every single release. You have time, to save money between this release and that release, because there's going to be a bunch of random ones in between that you really don't even want. But now we're going on 10 figures in a row where the average collector would probably pick up 7 of the last 10 figures that have been announced. And there's no sign that this is going to slow down either. So what's my advice to all of the collectors out there, and what I'm trying to, start thinking about now? Take a serious reevaluation of your Star Wars Hot Toy collection and even your Marvel Hot Toy collection. Trim any fat that you really think you don't need in your collection, especially if they're selling for above retail right now. Decide if you really need that figure or if you don't. Now, I'm not saying go panic sell your whole collection, but this is an important time to really try and thin your collection down as much as possible, because do not underestimate the amount of figures that are going to get announced over the next 12 months from Star Wars Hot Toys, from Clone Wars or The Mandalorian, that you're going to tell yourself you absolutely need, and they're going to come back to back to back to back to back to back. There's no more noise in between where we're going to be getting like crappy releases that you can just easily pass on and save your money. Like, there's people passing on Empire Strikes Back Lando that would have definitely not passed on that figure 2 years ago, but they have to, because like, what are they supposed to do? They just ordered 2 501st Clone Troopers, they just ordered an Ahsoka, they're ordering a Coruscant Guard, and they have all these Mandalorian figures on pre-order. Like, they just can't afford to also include like a Mando or a Snowspeeder Luke into their budget. So evaluate your collection, figure out what you need to sell, figure out what you're okay letting go, and don't be afraid to just sell it. These are just my thoughts, though. Let me know in the comment section down below. Let me know if you guys found this video helpful, if you guys agree with my logic. I just think that it's important to be front-footed now, because you don't want to be caught off sides in, 2 months when we've gotten another 4 Hot Toys Star Wars announcements, Clone Wars or Mandalorian, and you're super hyped and you want to buy all of those, and you literally don't have the space or the budget to be able to afford all of those Hot Toys. It's better to do it now instead of in 3 months when everybody is trying to sell any Hot Toys that they can in their collection at a profit to go reinvest it in a brand new figure that just got announced. But as always, remember, buy the dip, sell the rip. This is the way. We will see you in the next video.